Welcome to Beauty Times Medicine, the video and podcast series hosted by Galderma, where we continue to uncover the science behind beautiful, healthy skin. Today, we're delighted to welcome Dr. Mara Weinstein, Director of Cosmetic and Laser Dermatology at the University of Rochester Medical Center. She's a leading expert in dermatological skincare, aesthetic dermatology, and laser treatments, with a focus on personalized care and procedural innovation. Dr. Weinstein has led clinical research, authored peer-reviewed papers and articles, and textbook chapters, and has won numerous awards for advancing the field of dermatology. She is a trusted voice for healthcare professionals and patients, and frequently shares her expertise in publications and through her growing Instagram community. Dr. Weinstein, welcome to Beauty Times Medicine.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So I scrolled through your Instagram earlier, and I would say it's a fun mix of insights, tips, real-life moments. It's obvious when you look at that you love educating people about skin health. How did that all come about?
So I actually grew up on the island of Guam in the South Pacific.
Oh, wow.
And as a child growing up, we didn't have access to medicine like we do now in the US. And in fact, we didn't have any dermatologists on the island. And as an adolescent, I struggled with some acne and some skin issues. And I took it upon myself to really dig deep and do some research into knowing what products would be right for my skin, even as a young child. And at that time, I realized the more knowledge I gained, the more people would gravitate toward me and ask questions about, how do you do what you do? How do you get your skin looking like that? And so it started very young, where I just developed this passion for helping my peers, helping others, and educating in that way.
And that's when you said, maybe I should become a dermatologist, or did that come later? How did that all happen?
Yes, absolutely. So, my mom is Jamaican, and so she was a stickler with sunscreen. And so while everyone on the beach was, sunning and tanning, we were covered in sunscreen from head to toe.
The mother was very conscientious.
She was very aware.
Yeah.
And so I learned early on the importance of taking care of your skin.
And then I've seen also that you sometimes bring in your kids on your show. Is there a certain age where you should start thinking about skincare?
Yes, absolutely. So my goal when it comes to educating children and parents about their skincare routine is just starting them in some sort of simple routine early on, simple as washing their face and maybe putting on a moisturizer, or washing their face after an activity and then using sunscreen. I think it's really important to just get them into the act of caring for their skin so that later on they're developing good skincare habits.
How do you guide anyone, a 10-year-old, a 15-year-old, an 18-year-old, or someone that is already grown up about, there's so many things, so many sources of information. How do you cut through the clutter, so to speak?
I would say I approach that in a twofold manner. So first off, as you noted, I educate through social media channels. So through my Instagram, through YouTube recently, which I've just launched, and also through TikTok, I try my best to be a source of reliable information from somebody who's credentialed as a board-certified dermatologist. And I know my viewership is broad in terms of age and interests. And so I really try to make my content apply to whomever might be watching. The other way I educate is in the office. And so I often have patients bring in their array of skincare, whether they are bringing in photos or the actual skincare. And I educate them on how to read the ingredients, how to look up whether this is right for your skin. And then we'll play a little game where we knock a few things out and we keep a few things, and then we add a few things they don't have. And so with that two-pronged approach, both online and also in person, I've really had a lot of success being able to guide patients through what skincare is.
And what if someone brought in Cetaphil, which is, I think, good for sensitive skin? It has a lot of, what would you say? What would be your advice then?
Well, from my understanding, about 71% of Americans admit to having sensitive skin or say that they have sensitive skin. So Cetaphil is the #1 dermatologist trusted brand when it comes to treating and being appropriate for sensitive skin. So when they come in with Cetaphil, I jump for joy. But in all reality, I actually, most of the time, tell them to use that as their pillar, sort of their rock in terms of moisture, whether it's the gentle moisturizer or a cleanser. And often I will add to that. So if they're just using a moisturizer, I'll then add the new, for example, I just saw the new oil-free Cetaphil sunscreen with SPF 30, which is great for a lot of the patients I see with acne-prone skin.
Switching a bit to aesthetic medicine,
Yes.
and so someone told me, oh, when they spoke about you, it's like your technique is dancing with a needle. So do you have a very unique technique, or where does that come from?
It's really important to be good with your hands and to learn techniques where you can minimize a painful entry point or learn techniques to distract the patient so they're not feeling that. Because at the end of the day, what they're going to remember is their experience with you. And so it's actually my fellowship director in Boston who said that he noticed that when I injected with a needle, it looked like I was dancing with the needle. And that's because I was very gentle, steady with my hands, and the patients didn't startle when they felt my touch.
I also read recently in a Journal of Drugs and Dermatology that you were involved in. There's something about, how do you integrate skincare into aesthetic medicine? Any insights or knowledge that we can take from that?
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to be part of this wonderful roundtable with leaders in the field. It was really an honor to be there. And what we discussed was integrating skincare for different skincare concerns. So whether or not you have acne, fine lines and wrinkles, early signs of aging, hydration issues, redness, rosacea sensitive skin, or pigmentary issues. And I think the take home was really about how important it is as board certified dermatologists to educate your patients on the different ingredients and how they would work optimally for different skin concerns.
So in your practice, you give advice about skincare routines. You may be injecting fillers, neuromodulators, but you are also using laser. How do you put the whole thing together, so to speak?
Patients will come to me at all stages in life, whether they're in their 20s looking for prevention, they're in their 30s, in the middle of childbearing years, or in their 40s, and really starting to notice signs of aging. And so, what I tell them is to really maintain where you are or to help reverse these signs using little tweaks, we need to get on a schedule. And so usually that schedule entails doing neuromodulators every 3 to 4 months, having filler treatments, whether it be biostimulatory fillers or hyaluronic acid fillers regularly. So whether that's, every 3 months, if you're looking at something like Sculptra versus an HA filler, maybe once a year. And then we integrate lasers initially monthly to kind of establish that healthy skin glow and then maintain them once or twice a year. So it's all part of a master plan, if you will, to maintain healthy skin.
So how do you balance the whole thing? Busy mom, podcast, Instagram, practice, multiple sources of advice. What does a day look like for you?
Honestly, there is no balance. It is um, prioritizing on a daily basis. And I don't do it alone. I have a team of support that helps me, including my husband, my work, and my children. They're actually very supportive of me. I have in-laws at home who are watching them at the moment. So I'm just so grateful for the army, if you will, that I've built to support my endeavors and to help me to get to where I am today.
Well, I'm sure anyone that is either watching your Instagram or reading your Instagram with all your expertise in skincare, injectables, laser, I think a lot of people are very grateful out there. It's been absolutely fascinating to have you on the show. Thank you very much for sharing your insights.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure. I really appreciate it.
So thank you for joining us on this episode of Beauty Times Medicine. Stay with us and subscribe for more insights and in-depth conversations and interactions from leading experts who are shaping the future of beauty and skin health. Join us next time as we continue advancing dermatology for every skin story.